Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. This is Sean Thomas Ronan O'Brien, an Irishman. I'm coming at you from Austin, Texas. We're here at beautiful Mueller Park. Gorgeous out here. It is December 10th, maybe the 11th. Shout out to, I guess, my ex-stepdaughter. I don't even know what to call her. Beautiful woman. Sloan, happy birthday. It was your birthday. Shout out to my son, Killian. To my sisters, my family, the whole New York hardcore family, all my friends and family down here, Community for Recovery people, all those people, right? Big shout out to everybody. Really grateful to be here posting a video today about an upcoming book I have coming out, right? So I'm a writer, and I, again, it's in my name, Sean Thomas Ronan O'Brien. I'm obviously an Irishman, right? Thomas is my middle name, Ronan is my confirmation name. I have an Uncle Tom and an Uncle Ronan from both sides of the family, so that's, that's how I get Sean Thomas Ronan O'Brien, right? AKA Stro, right? AKA Sean O'Boogie, AKA Seanage, AKA Roman Candle Robber, AKA MC O'Brien, AKA Yonkers Banimal, the White Animal. And my AKAs go on forever. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about this book that I will be publishing in early 2026, in about 2, 3, maybe 4 months, right? My goal is to have it out in the month of March. Why the month of March? Because what else is in the month of March? March is awesome, first off, right? My mother's birthday, St. Patrick's Day. There's just so many things about March. Spring, like all that stuff, right? March is like super badass, badass month, right? The name of my book, which is a memoir, is most likely going to be titled Irish Goodbye, and Irish Goodbyes, right? And what better time to come out than the month of March, coincide with St. Patrick's Day? It's kind of a marketing promotion thing for sure, right? But like, it's got to come out sometime, right? So why not that time? Right? And I've had this memoir written for close to 5 years now, and I've been sitting on it. I would say about 2 years ago, there was a really strong push to get it published. I was writing query letters, getting tons of rejection letters from all the major publishing houses, from indie publishing houses, from literary agents. I was rejection letter after rejection, right? And that's cool. It is what it is, right? But I come from the New York hardcore kind of subculture of the DIY. Do things yourself. Like, listen, I have a strong music background. I played in some New York bands, stalwarts of the hardcore scene. If you were to look up online the top 10 New York hardcore bands, or ask AI the top 10 New York hardcore bands, or even the top 5, right? The top 5 names they would spit out, I've played in 2 of those bands, right? God, I hope to record another album with Maximum Penalty at least, right? Man, I miss those guys. Shout out to my boys at Maximum Penalty, man. I miss y'all and love y'all, man. Hopefully we can get together soon and play some more, and maybe put out another album, or I don't know, 7-inch or something, shortchanging you there, Jimmy. But little inside joke there. So I'm publishing a memoir, and the memoir is about my youth in growing up in New York, Yonkers, New York City somewhat, and having this family situation where I'm not going to spill the beans here, but my father was a Vietnam vet, like a very well-respected, decorated. He had 4 bronze medals, 2 oak leaf clusters, 2 others for valor. He had a Purple Heart. He was a big dude, but apparently he was part of the tunnel, like some part of the Tunnel Rats. Oliver Stone's platoon is supposedly somewhat modeled after, there is, anyway, I'm not going to get too far into it and talk about it, but he had mental health issues as a result of major action over there. He was in the Tropical Lightning, 25th Infantry Division, and he came home this war hero, but the demons inside eventually got the best of him. He went to the VA, and they just, back then, they weren't hip to PTSD. They weren't hip to, the long-term effects of, the different chemicals that they used in the chemical warfare that they are dishonest about, saying that they didn't use it. And anyway, his mental health declined. That turned into self-medicating. Self-medicating turned into alcoholism. Alcoholism stops working. He turned to harder drugs, and then the crack cocaine explosion of the 80s, and boom, there's your story, right? And like how that affected me growing up, and lots of cool fucking, like, as terrible as that all sounds, like there are a lot of great memories and a lot of cool stories like in that memoir, man. So I encourage y'all all to go out there and purchase it when it comes out, hopefully in March, right? So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about like publishing, right? Dropped my damn wallet. Hey, you dropped your wallet. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. That's a scoff thing. Anyway, publishing. So I mentioned earlier that like about 2 years ago I made a real strong push to getting it published, right? And I did a lot of traditional publishers, indie publishers, a lot of literary agents, and I got all rejection letters, all of them, right? And that's fine. Well, thankfully, there's some other ways of getting your stuff out there, right? There's self-publishing, right? Which is you pay for everything, right? It's kind of like a band, wanting to put their stuff out, so they go into a recording studio, they record all the stuff, they pay for it, right? And now they have the tapes. Well, now it's digital, but back then it was 2-inch tape, like these awesome reels, analog, right? Then you pay for that to get transferred to like a cassette or a CD or vinyl, and then you sell that, right? And then there are obviously, indie record labels, major record labels, the idea of going on tour and selling, the records, cassettes, CDs, whatever, out of the back of your van. So I come from that DIY type of subculture environment, right? Which is great, because after, getting hit with a deluge of rejection letters, I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. I just have to like move to the next step and like look into either self-publishing or something called hybrid publishing. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about, hybrid publishing. What is hybrid publishing, right? So today, hybrid publishing is a little bit different than it was even yesterday. It's definitely different than it was 2 years ago. Okay, so hybrid publishing in certain circles has been also referred to as vanity publishing, right? So what's vanity publishing? Well, it's in the name, right? It's about being vain. It's, hey, I got this story to tell. Major publisher, Penguin wouldn't put it out. I got rejected, like me. But fuck them. My shit's so good, I'm going to put it out anyway because, hey, I don't. Thing. And the pros of that is, like, I think everybody has a right to put out whatever they want to put out, right? Like, we live in America, right? We have rights, we have amendments, right? Freedom of press, freedom of speech. So put your shit out. However, vanity publishing houses are just gonna, charge a lot of fucking money, and they're just going to put out whatever you have. It could be crap, and I understand it's not crap to you, but it may be crap to the whole literary world. And the problem is, like, they don't want that attached, that crap, that stain attached to the literary world, and I get that. It's coming from a very protective stance, and I'm also very protective of literature and like humanities and art. I'm an artist. I create. That's what I do. I'm a lifelong musician, lifelong writer. Like that's what I do. That's in my blood. Again, I'm an Irishman. You know, think of all the the Irish culture, and all the rebel songs and the regular songs and the wolf tones and the Dubliners, and then think of the literary side of things. James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, William Butler Yeats. The list goes on. Even more contemporary ones. Cormac McCarthy. What's the guy that wrote Teacher Man? God, I always forget his name. So awesome. He's amazing. It will come to me. Frank McCourt? McCourt for sure. But then even Tim O'Brien, right? The Things They Carry. Wonderful book, right? It's in my blood. So I have to get my shit out there, right? So again, about 2 years ago, I made this, real hard push, got rejection letter after rejection letter, and decided to look into self-publishing and hybrid publishing. And, there's value in both. There's value in all of them. Self-publishing, I think, is great, but the difference between self-publishing and hybrid publishing, right? When I talk about hybrid publishing, like, I'm not talking about vanity publishing, right? Vanity publishing and the vanity publishing houses, and you have to be careful, you have to be mindful, right? I would say a couple of years ago at least, it's definitely changed today, but a couple of years ago, like a vanity publishing house would just accept anything, right? Now, they have these hybrid publishing houses that will not just accept anything. Like, you have to submit your manuscript, and they're going to either say like, hey, this is great, we'd love to work with you, or they're going to say, hey, this isn't like up our our style, and they reject it, right? And those companies, I think, are totally worthwhile getting involved with, right? But I've seen, like, with this with the advent of AI and listen, in 2000, listen, my buddy Joe Affey always used to say, hey, listen. I always thought Joe. 2000s, we saw the music landscape, the music industry landscape completely change, revolutionary change, right? No longer did you have to, get onto a major label to be successful in a band. We were doing this in the 90s, first off, but it didn't really catch until the 2000s. No longer did you have to be even on an indie label to get noticed, right? All of a sudden, with the internet, or YouTube and SoundCloud, and all these other platforms, like, people were becoming popular overnight and creating careers out of that, and like, that is awesome. I'm so grateful for all of this, right? 20 or however many years ago, I wouldn't be able to do this. Somebody in Leipzig, Germany could be watching this. Somebody in fucking Tokyo could be watching this. That's awesome, right? So there's a lot of value in these new technologies. However, I'm sure you're familiar with and heard of, like, these different writing programs. Let me be clear, I do not use writing programs. Everything I write comes from this fucking hand right here. I think Charles Dickens said it, something to the effect, there's nothing wrong with a pen and an old piece of parchment. I do not use AI in my writing at all. I have used it for editing, to catch and when I say editing, I don't mean developmental editing or line editing. What I mean, actually, it's proofreading, right? To catch grammatical mistakes, commas here, hyphens there, stuff like that, right? But there's a lot of new computer programs and companies that are using this AI for writing, and I think we have to be really careful with that, right? And here's why. None of those programs have put anything out with any real substance, with any real sustenance, with any real with any soul, right? And this goes over to the music too, right? Because they have AI that, hey, I want a song that's funky with this type of message and horns, and you put in what you want and it kicks out a song. Like, it's garbage. And if it catches on too much, right? If we don't have like divisive dividing line between this stuff, like, that's going to become the norm. And the problem with that is, again, it's garbage. Our kids, here's a little squirrel. Hey, guy. He's awesome. Come over here. Psst, psst. He's digging a hole. I don't know what he's doing. I don't have ADHD. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do. Doesn't matter. The awesome squirrel. He's looking for something. We're all looking for something, right? Come back to it, Sean. So, publishing, right? I was talking about traditional hybrid before I got sidetracked by this squirrel. After making this push, I fell off and kind of just got, I didn't follow up on it. That's for a lot of different reasons. Family things, relationship things, my own personal things. I had issues in my recovery, return to uses, shit went downhill as a result of my poor decisions and shit like that, right? So, but I'm not there anymore today, right? So this past year, especially this past 6 months, right? I've been really focusing on, what I want to do with, my present and the future and going forward, right? And it became clear, like, I have to get these books that I've written out, right? I have more than just one book. I got like close to 5 books written, right? But I have to get them out, right? How am I going to get them out? So I can do self-publishing or I can do hybrid publishing. And if one of these, indie publishers or traditional publishers want to come along and pick me up at some point, awesome. If the deal is right, right? I was really close a couple of months ago now at signing with one indie publisher. And the dividing line, I know what we're talking about. The dividing line with this publisher that made me walk away and say no was they wanted to charge $24.95 for a soft cover. I'm not charging somebody $24.95. Not that my work is not worth it. It's totally worth it, right? My work is priceless. I could charge $124.95, right? But I want to think about my readers and their wallets, right? So I walked away from it. Anyway, the problem with AI and it, pumping out music and pumping out literature or books is like it's garbage, it's soulless, right? And what's going to happen is our kids, that's what they're going to grow up on. They're going to grow up on soulless garbage. Then where do you think that's going to go from there? That's just going to continue to like snowball and grow, right? So I'm not saying like it's not useful at times, that it doesn't have a place in society. It absolutely does. It's going to revolutionize some industries. It will be very helpful to other industries, but it is not a substitute for real writing and real music. End of story. Bottom line, right? So, after walking away from this indie publisher, I said, okay, well, the time is now. So I'm going to either do self-publishing or hybrid publishing, right? I have so many things going on in life. I don't think, well, number one, I don't have the know-how, right? I would have to invest a lot of time into like researching how to market and promote a book, how to do this, how to do that, right? And then not only do that, but do all the stuff that like it requires, but then pay for it too, right? I'm not independently wealthy, so like this money has to come from somewhere, so I have to go to work, right? So I saw, and I want this book to like set a precedence. This is going to be my first book. Like, I care about it, right? I care about all the stuff I put out creatively, right? It's not garbage. It's a legacy, right? It's who I am. So I looked into hybrid publishing, and I decided to sign on with this hybrid publisher. I signed on about a week ago, and I wanted to talk just a little bit about like that experience. So far, we'll talk about the sales pitch time, right? It was right before, or it was during Black Friday. I think I signed on a Tuesday, that Tuesday after Cyber Monday, when their sale was about to end, or they extended it for me because I'm special, that whole gag, right? But it was a good deal. It was like 30% off, 40% off if you paid in full, which I couldn't do, and then 30% off if you took one of their payment plans. But 30% off, these things, let's just put it out there, 10 grand, right? Let's give you, and that's kind of a pretty average ballpark number. That's 30% off that, man. I'm saving 3 grand, right? So I'm paying 7 grand for something that's worth 10 grand, right? Obviously, I researched the company, and I looked at other products, I looked at this, I looked at that, I did the pros, I did the cons, blah, blah, blah. So I made a decision, right? We're doing this, we're getting this done, boom. So the customer service I experienced, and during the sales pitch, and like, hey, I need time to think about it, I got to do this, I got to do that. And, well, the sale ends, on Monday, and I said, well, I think there was a conversation where she was like, well, if we get off this phone call and you don't, have made a decision, like the deal is going to evaporate. And I was like, well, that's fine. Well, let's you go your way, I'll go my way. And she's like, well, well, let me talk to my team and we'll see if we can extend it for you because you're special. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. So they ended up extending it, right? And I made a decision on Tuesday that I'm going to go ahead and do it, right? And I go ahead and I do it, and I pay my first installment, and, I get the phone call and the text and the celebratory emails. You open up the email and this confetti. Welcome to such and such. Sean Thomas, Ronan O'Brien, we're so pleased to have you, and this is what we're, all this stuff, right? Awesome. And then I'm like, sweet. Now my memoirs, for all intents and purposes, is finished. There's a little caveat. I have my complete memoir, like most of it at least, written, like typewritten out from like 5 years ago, right? Like one of my original copies, right? Then I had most of it stored in Grammarly in an old account that I'm having trouble getting access to, right? So I have my old Grammarly username and my old Grammarly password, right? So I put both of those in, going on my account, let me go get my memoir so I can upload it, and I get, hey, for safety purposes, we have to send a code to your email or your phone number. Which one do you want? And like, it's an old email, which I don't have access to. It's an old phone number, which I don't have access to. So I'm like, motherfucker. So I contact them, and they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. We can refund you your money, but we can't get you into that account. I'm like, yeah, that's not okay. You're gonna have to figure something out because my memoir's fucking in there, right? Like, not to mention probably about 20 essays that like I'm going to use for like 2 collections of essay books, right? So anyway, I'm dealing with them. But I do have the first 6 chapters at another writing site, medium.com. I think it's seanoboogie.medium.com. Go and check that out, right? There's a bunch of other stories up there. So I grab that and I upload it. Well, first, before I upload it, right, she gives it, I get a link from the company to the website where I can upload my manuscript, and like where I'm going to do all my stuff, right? So I sign on, and like, I get invalid password or invalid username, right? I'm like, oh, motherfucker, here we go. So I get caught in this loop, right? Where when I put in like, oh no, it's my first time, I don't have an account, put in, your email, and if there's an account associated with this, we'll we'll send you a password reset, and if there isn't, you can just set up an account, right? So I do that. They tell me that I have an account associated with it, and then an email's being sent, right? So I wait the normal amount of time, a couple of minutes, right? Like, those emails are sent out pretty quickly. I check my junk mail, nothing, right? I do it again, nothing, right? I'm like, motherfuckers. So I'm caught in this loop where I can't get in, and I'm like, well, this is bullshit. You know, I just paid this money, like I get all these great things from them, and immediately, right, they shit the bed. I'm like, well, we're not off to a fucking great start. They also tout about a 7-day money-back guarantee, right? So my plan is to upload the first 6 chapters, right? Have whoever they have on their team go and edit those first 6 chapters, right? Do a quick developmental editing, a line editing, no AI editing, and check those first 6 chapters out and see what they kick back, right? Because that's what I really care about, is what, you know, what suggestions they're going to have about my writing. So, but I can't even do that because I can't even get into the fucking to the platform, to the website, right? So I call, no answer, and I text the person, you know, that the salesperson, who's not just the salesperson, she works with and for the company. She's not an account manager, but she's my, you know, the person I'm going through. So I get no response, and I'm like, not okay, you know. So a day goes by, I still can't get in. I email their customer service, you know, they assure me that they'll get back to me within 24 hours. I get no response within 24 hours, no response from this broad, right? And I'm like, fuck this, I'm about to, you know, just call it a day, get my money back and go elsewhere. And I get a text from the chick pretty late at night, like 11 a.m., right? I'm in Austin, they're in Florida, so it was like a.m., I said, p.m. Pretty late at night, it was like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., so 10 p.m. their time. Anyway, she says, oh my God, I'm so sorry I missed this text. I was also out because I had dental surgery. And like that kind of, you know, number one, I was happy she finally got back to me, right? I did not like the, you know, I had dental surgery. It just seemed like a ploy, like, oh, you know, fuck you. You know, I don't know. It's just like, I don't want to hear about your dental surgery. Like, I'm a super compassionate guy. I love, you know, like, I give people so much grace and so much mercy because so much has been given to me, you know, but like, you know, we all have problems, right? Like, this is, it's not personal. This is like business, right? And I paid a lot of money for this service, and I want my service. I don't want excuses that I had some dental fucking work done and, you know, I was out of it. Like, okay, well, if you had that, then you need to give all that stuff to the next person so they can get back to me, right? This is the business. Like, do your fucking job. So that kind of didn't sit well with me, but, you know, I let it go. I don't hold resentment. I'm not going to bring anything along with me. She says, I will get on this right away. You'll hear from me tomorrow morning. So the morning comes, and I hear from her. She says, oh, we had a problem with our website due to Black Friday. It should be up and running. We'll give you, we'll send you an email when it is with a, you know, username and a password, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. I go to bed that night or whatever. I wake up the next morning, and at like 6:24, I see an email come in. And I'd been up for some time by then, but I click on the link, and bingo, takes me to the website. I put in, you know, I put in my own password, and boom, I'm in there. I'm like, awesome, right? Then I get a text from her like 4 hours later saying, hey, we're still working on the problem, but I should be able to get you in there in a couple of hours, you know? And I'm like, fuck, are these people like not talking to each other? Like, I text her back like, hey, guess what? I'm already in, but, you know, thanks for following up, and, you know, hope your mouth is feeling all right. You know, oh, that's great, blah, blah, you know, wonderful. So I upload my manuscript. I'm checking out the website, and it's, you know, it's going pretty well. And the lady had mentioned that an account manager was going to reach out to me. Again, I think I signed, you know, I gave him the money on Tuesday, the day after Cyber Monday. There was like some shit show with the, you know, the website, so it was like Wednesday or Thursday. And she says, anyway, an account manager is going to reach out to you like Thursday or Friday. I'm like, all right, bet. Nobody reaches out to me Thursday or Friday. And I'm like, fuck, garbage, right? So the weekend comes, the weekend goes. I reach out to her super early Monday morning and say, hey, listen, man, y'all told me that somebody was going to contact me Thursday or Friday, and nobody did. Like, that's not okay. She gets back immediately. I'm so sorry again. And I'm like, okay, you know, we're counting how many so sorries, right? Costanza style. Stuff your sorries in a sack. You know, and I've got like 2 or 3 by now, right? And she says, somebody's going to be reaching out to you really soon about setting up an appointment, time for an appointment, and you can, you know, start your account manager relationship. I say, okay. And I get an email and a text or a call from somebody about setting up an appointment, like later that day. So I'm like, all right, bet I can let all that go. We're going to keep moving forward, right? But there's definitely a couple of strikes, you know, and I'm still thinking, like, do I need to pull my money and just go somewhere else, right? So I'm talking to the person, not the person that I'm going to be talking to, but a person just to set up the appointment. And we decide 8 a.m. the next morning, right? And at this point, I'm like, hey, if they don't call like by 8 a.m., like off, you know, I'm done, I'm out. And 8 a.m. comes and they call. And I'm like, all right, sweet. However, like in between after getting off the phone with that person and 8 a.m., like later that night or earlier that morning, I get another email from the company saying, hey, this is from like a different account manager that works there. Like, hey, we're so happy that you came on. I'm going to be reaching out to you to set up an appointment. And I'm like, I have an appointment set up, you know? So it's just like these people are not talking to each other, right? Which kind of is frustrating, and it could be indicative of some like fucked up infrastructure within the company, right? I've seen that happen before. They are a new company. One of the reasons I went with them, because they are new, right? There are pros and cons of startups, right? And one of the cons can be like people aren't talking to each other, right? They're still working out their kinks, right? I don't even respond to the fucking person that they email, right? And person calls right at 8 a.m. I'm like, all right, good sign, right? And the conversation with that person went really well. Again, this person's just an account manager, right? So they're not going to be doing any editing. They're not going to be doing the marketing. They're not going to be doing the promotion. But something he said to me kind of hit me, and I was just like, it's not necessarily a strike, but like, I don't know what it is. So he says, well, listen, Mr. O'Brien, after I told him to call me Sean like 100 times, right? He insists on calling me Mr. O'Brien. He says, we're going to be with you the entire time, from end till finish. Hello? From end to finish? You mean from start to beginning? Like, you mean from start to end, from beginning to finish? Like, you know, and I was quiet after that. And he was like, hello? Also, the call dropped like 4 times, and he kept saying, I don't know why the call's dropping. I'm in my usual place. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, enough with the fucking sorries. Just like, get your shit together and like, let's go. Let's do this. So anyway, here we are. A couple of days later, actually 1 day later. This call I had was yesterday, and I don't know, I'm feeling much better about it. I can pull out anytime I want and go somewhere else, but like I don't know, I feel good about it, and I'm going forward. So be on the lookout. Hopefully the month of March, right around St. Patrick's Day, we're going to have Irish Goodbyes hit the market, and it's going to be available in softcover, hardcover, audiobook, and ebook. An audiobook, I think, will be in my voice rather than some AI voice, right? Like, that's not going to be okay. An AI New Yorker, like, no, not going to happen, you know? So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about branding my, you know, brand or name as far as like author goes, and, you know, having a website. And what I'm not really looking forward to, like this part I like, because even though I don't know who's viewing this, I hope if you do view this, like, drop your name, where you're from, why you're here, in the comments. You know, are you a writer? Are you a musician? Like, what brought you here? Just so we can get some some interaction going on, because this world is about connection, and this book is about connection. The memoir is about connection, right? And that's why I'm doing this, right? It's about connection. So I enjoy doing this because there's connection, right? What I'm not looking forward to is like doing all the social media stuff like that. I have to do. That's not part of the package. So, you know, I'll have to start doing the Facebook, the Instagram, and I've been off of those for over a year now, which has been a wonderful break. Shit, I was without a phone for fucking 6 months, and like, you know, I get it. You have to have a phone these days if you're gonna live like on the grid, but like, oh my God, it was so freeing, like not having that attachment. But that's gonna be in a different book. This book will be coming out in March. It's going to be called Irish Goodbyes. Hopefully come out around St. Patrick's Day and in all 4 formats. And looking to start my brand name, because I have a host of other books I'm ready to put out, you know, hopefully one a year. So that's that. I'm going to be posting more videos on this publishing process, right? Just informing you how it goes. Maybe this might be helpful to somebody that's looking to go to hybrid publishing. Hopefully it's helpful to somebody. Hopefully you got a laugh. I don't know. And I'll be putting up other videos, you know, about music, about meditation, again, about this publishing process. And that's it. You know, thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting me. You know, please, you know, hit the like button, hit subscribe, tell your friends, and you know, get at me. All right, ciao for now.